Hello and welcome everybody to a very special edition of the Buy Round. Midweek Matters is back. Myself and Charlie, fresh off the new year. It's been a while, Charlie.
It has, Jimmy. It has. It's been. It's good to see you, mate. I missed you while you were in England. I forgot how much time I spent with you, and then the summer came, and I just didn't see you, and I was sort of lost. Yeah. I was lost without you.
Sent a couple of WhatsApp messages, checking in on you. Yeah. I was very keen to see how New Year went for you in Hobart.
It was good. I got way too drunk on New Year's Eve. The issue was we started drinking during the day, and we played Survivor, but like as mates in like a group, and it's the best thing you could ever do. Like it is honestly so much fun playing Survivor with your mates, and you get voted off one by one, but it's just so intense, and like it was incredible. Yeah, I would highly recommend playing that with yourselves and mates because it's so much fun.
Not Russian roulette.
No, not Russian roulette. No, you could play that though as well, but dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous. Different consequences.
Yeah. Although you could do it with maybe you could do it with like a BB gun,
spud gun.
Yeah, yeah. Any options. New Year's was good though. It was good fun. Tassie's amazing. It's a great place.
But did you watch the Sydney fireworks on the TV and be like, imagine being there?
No, I didn't. I'm not a fireworks guy. I've said this before. I got a lot of shit in the comments as well for saying I'm not a fireworks guy. Sorry, I didn't realize there were so many fireworks fannies out there.
Can I be honest?
Fireworks so much.
I'm not a fireworks guy.
No, we spoke about this. But then all the people in the comments are like, how can you disrespect fireworks and stuff? It's like, mate, shut up.
Yeah. Look, we're all about inclusion here at the Buy Round.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
You know, don't diss us for not liking fireworks. And look, if you like them, it's not personal attack.
No, exactly.
It's not personal. I have to like them because you like them. I mean, you judge someone on that. So come on.
Exactly.
But you're better than that, Buy Round.
You are. Also, the giveaway, we still need, I think, like 30 more reviews on Apple for the giveaway to be finalized. So if you have reviewed on Spotify, we've cleared the Spotify number by a mile now. So we're almost there on Apple. So jump on, give us the review. And then that's your entry, in case you haven't heard this before, that's your entry into having dinner with James and Brandon at some point this year, which will be fun. All expenses paid, dinner, flights not included.
Flights not included.
Yeah. No accommodation.
Just wins it from England.
Yeah. Flights, accommodation not included. But it will be a nice meal, a bit of fun. Evening with Jimmy and Brandon. Very intimate. It's you and a few mates, so it should be fun.
Well, not that intimate.
Well, there's only about 6 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In other news, are you okay? You were flapping a bit earlier in the week.
What about America being banned from TikTok?
Yes, that's correct.
I didn't. I wasn't
you messaged
flapping.
the group, Tony. How many of our TikTok listeners are in the US? 0.01%.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah. Well, I was just concerned, all about the numbers. So I was like, what percentage are we of American audience? 0.1%.
See, when I saw TikTok to be banned in the States, at no one point did I think, oh, geez, that's going to affect us.
That's because you're a one-level thinker. You can only think about things on one level. So there's like a set of steps, all these different things happening on different levels. I've gone, there's an issue, and I'm a 2-level thinker, maybe even a 3-level thinker, and I've thought about the different things, how it affects us.
Yeah.
You're always thinking.
I am multi-dimensional.
I see you more as a 1-level thinker.
No.
I think you have the ability to think on one level, but anything above that, it gets too complicated for you.
No, well, I am actually going through a fair bit at the moment. So, I get affected, but I get easily influenced. And one of my influencers is Larry David.
Yeah.
So he's got a statute of limitations on Happy New Year.
Right, yeah. I agree with him as well.
And I agree, and I'm
with
him.
3 days or something?
He's 3 days. He's like, so people in this episode, he's at the gym, and someone's like, hey, Happy New Year, Larry. And he's like, meh. And I've adopted that. But when you come back to us, people are seeing you for the first time, like, hey, Happy New Year. And I can't say it back.
What about if it's like, are you just hard and fast 3 days as well?
I've adopted Larry's statute of limitations.
Because I've had people today say Happy New Year's to me.
I'm still getting it.
Yeah.
I'm still getting it.
Are you replying? You're not replying
just
Happy Day.
go,
Just brush it off?
Oh, cheers.
Yeah.
Or how was it?
How was your break?
Yeah, how was your... Yeah, I don't reply with Happy New Year.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I
do agree. I give people, if it's the first time seeing someone and they say, Happy New Year, I'm not worried about it. I'll cop it. But
do you say it back?
I would say it back. I'm a people pleaser, so I'd better say I'd say it back. But Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I also think that Christmas, when you bundle Christmas and New Year's in one, I don't need it. Don't need to bundle it all in one. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's like, it's probably too late to be saying Happy New Year. It's definitely too late to be saying Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Well, I'm getting that. I had a Merry Christmas today.
What?
I had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Like
on text?
Yeah, on text with someone who I hadn't spoken to yet.
What? That's just...
Yeah. That's weird. I can pull it up. It was a person obviously who wanted to chat to me about work, but then they bundled in the Merry Christmas. Hope you had a great year in Christmas. I've actually had it twice today. 2 Christmas messages. It's far too late for that.
Way too late for Christmas. Yeah. Christmas ends midnight. Christmas. It's like...
I think you can say Merry Christmas until Happy New Year's comes along, and then you're just replacing the two.
Maybe.
So maybe by that logic, you could say Happy New Year's until Australia Day, and then Australia Day until Easter. Australia Day holds until Easter. You just work towards
dragging it out. Just dragging it out. It's just painful. But I'm also starting to stress because you're thinking I'm a single dimension thinker or one level thinker. Mate, I'm stressing about like a ladder predictor.
Have you done one with the NRL yet?
No, because I know this is coming, and I know it's part of our job to predict the 17, and I'm going over in my head, and there's some team like last night. I'm thinking I've got the Sharks stuck in my head, and I'm going, is Fanua Blake gonna? He's going to add to them, but then like they got an easy draw last year. Is Fanua Blake what they need? Like how's Hines going to play? And obviously, once the season transpires, it will be so obvious.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about Souths. How's Wayne going to...
I think they're going to go good Souths.
Like, so I'm stressing about this ladder that obviously you're not accountable for, but I care about it because last year's predictions, the Dogs in 6th, that was calculated, and the Warriors out. Put my balls on the line for that.
Yeah.
And
you got hammered on both and got them both
hammered,
right.
And obviously I made mistakes as well. Nobody's going to get the ladder.
Probably had Broncos top maybe.
Yeah, I think I did. Don't worry. Let's focus on this. But, nobody calculated the Broncos. Nobody calculated the Broncos.
Well, mate, I had South to win the premiership last year, and Latrell Mitchell to get Dally M.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks Latrell could get Dally M this year. I think I've talked myself into South again.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring it up because I was just at work and we were doing something similar because everyone's got the Tigers as like so many people tell me Tigers going to make the 8. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go through the ladder, and you can tell me if the Tigers is better or worse.
Sorry, go on.
Broncos. Broncos are better than the Tigers. Raiders.
But we're based... it's hard with the Tigers because we've got no evidence.
Yeah, so 3 wooden spoons in a row is the evidence, in my opinion. We went through the ladder at work. I'd say...
It's all about par.
About par. Let's for the benefit of the Tigers, let's say they're better than the Raiders. Bulldogs, you'd say are better than the Tigers. Sharks, you'd say are better than the Tigers. Dolphins, you'd say are better than the Tigers. Titans, you'd say are better than the Tigers. Yeah?
Yeah.
Titans, yeah. Their forward pack's insane.
Yeah.
Manly, you'd say are better than the Tigers. Storm, you'd say are better than the Tigers. Warriors, tough to tell this year. Let's give it to the Tigers for benefit of the doubt. Knights, you'd say are better than the Tigers. Kalen Ponga, decent.
Par-ish.
Okay, well, let's give it to the Tigers. And so that's 3 teams the Tigers are better than. Cowboys are better than the Tigers. Para better than the Tigers, I think.
Par,
okay. All right. So that's 4 teams then. Panthers better than the Tigers. Bunnies better than the Tigers. I think the Tigers are better than the Dragons. You agree?
I'd say it's par at the moment. Yeah.
Roosters are better than the Tigers. So that means you've only got like 4 or 5 teams that the Tigers are maybe equal with or better than. How on earth are they going to go top 8 after 3 spoons in a row?
People think they're going to get hot because of Luai and May and some other signings, which...
Do you think that's enough, though?
Well, I see what people with the Tigers have fallen into the trap of is look at what the Bulldogs did.
Yeah.
Year 2 coach, acquire one of the leaders of Penrith, and just watch it go.
Yeah.
And it's like people need to, like, if you erase the Bulldogs of 24 from your memory, you're making predictions on the Tigers of still bottom 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, but we bring that in, and that's that recency bias where we go, oh no, the Tigers will be good because the Bulldogs were really good last year, and that's the correlation. That's what people are like assuming is going to happen. That forget the Bulldogs. Most times teams come from wooden spoons. Like apart from, again, I think the Roosters that won one 15 years ago. Yeah. That's the outlier. All the rest of the teams that have finished in wooden spoons, generally speaking, from memory, I could be incorrect.
It's like, very rare. Like the Roosters jumped from spoon to top 8 1 year back in the day.
But most teams jump from spoon to third, but I'd still say would remain in the bottom 4.
Yeah,
I could go and research this. I haven't. Yeah, that would be, I would assume, the norm.
Yeah, I think the other one as well is like everyone's talking about the Roosters falling, but then you go through their like team. It's still an amazing team. You got Teddy at the back, Dominic Young and Tupu on the wings, Nwangani Tawase and Billy Smith in the centres. If Billy Smith stays fit, he's absolutely a gun player. Then in the halves is the weaker point, Sandon Smith and Chad Townsend. But at the same time, Chad Townsend is capable of leading a team to the top 8 at a halfback position. He was doing it at the Cowboys while he was there. Then you've got hooker will be Connor Watson while Cheese is out. Front row of Spencer Leniu and Lindsay Collins. Back row of Angus Crichton, Nat Butcher or Siwa Wong and the other one, and Victor Radley at lock. And then on the bench, you've got White and either Wong or Butcher, the other Butcher, and then a utility of some sort.
Yeah.
But, mate, that's a decent team as well.
I do know what you're saying, Charlie. They've got this young centre that's meant to be like...
Robert Toya, I think is how you say his surname.
He is, by all accounts, and we hear this so many times about youngsters, that he is meant to be just next level, and he's carving up against quality opposition at training. Brained it in New South Wales Cup. High hopes for him, but just you can't. And the most important thing that Roosters have got is Trent Robinson.
Yeah,
and I guess we'll see what happens with them. Just going back to Souths. See, my fear for Souths is I think they're light in the middle.
Yeah, okay. Well, Totola's back for them as well, which is a big in.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to pay, how points last year, sort of their best points last year was actually when Koloamatangi was playing at lock. Do you think he stays there or do you think Cam Murray just goes back to lock?
You've got to play Cam Murray at lock.
Yeah, so then
it's one of those where you go, this is great, but...
Can you turn Koloamatangi maybe into a middle?
Into a front row. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I think that's maybe what they're going to have to do.
Yeah.
Because then on the back row you'd have, who they got in the back row? Jai Arrow and... Jacob Host, I might be forgetting someone there, but they're light on.
Well, you're probably going to try and develop Koloamatangi into a front row middle style player. Like a lot of players do it. Like Patrick Carrigan, Isaiah Yeo has played front row for Australia before.
Yeah,
it's different, but it isn't. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So. Maybe they'll look to do something like that. But when you're light on middles, and I was again thinking about this, that or you're inexperienced in the middle with no Murray, you rely on your hooker to get your forwards through the game, know that position, and they're obviously going in with Piers Mamazulas, who is inexperienced. He's got this demand of these superstar players outside, and they're going to demand the football and. When you're inexperienced forward, you probably want that really dominant dummy half to help you through, talk you through, give you the eyes, all this sort of stuff. I think they're still a little bit vulnerable in the middle of the park. And now I know Wayne is going to come and change the attitude and the mood in the camp and everything that goes on around it, which leads into the weekend's performance and the results. So it's going to be an interesting one myself where I still feel are a tad light in the middle.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that I'm thinking about. I know it'll be obvious, and I'm trying to figure out what they are. What is going to be obvious come round 10? And we go, well, of course.
Yeah. Well, I think Sharks going to be good, but I think Sharks going to be the same story as the last couple of years. I think they're going to be probably a top 4 team, but I don't think they're going to win the comp. And I think Penrith have to fall away a little bit.
Well, with the Sharks, like Fanua Blake, he's such a threat on try line, which tightens up defenders. and then therefore gives Nico and Trindle more room to play with. So I don't know. Where with all due respect to from memory, watching the Sharks play, they probably lacked a little bit of threat on try line, short to a middle.
Yeah. And I think Nico will be more confident as well to start the season because things were going great, got picked for Origin, it fell off. I think the reality is I don't think he's going to be playing Origin this year.
No.
So I think he'll be able to just focus on Cronulla and have a great year there. The other interesting one with Cronulla, which we were going to talk about later on the show, but we may as well talk about it now, is Mulitalo.
Yeah, I don't get this.
And it's being shopped to the Broncos.
For me, I don't get this at all because the Broncos aren't going to sign him.
Well, unless they can get him if they know they're going to lose Cobbo.
They've already got Grant Anderson for next year.
Yeah.
So they signed Grant Anderson, who'd
be cheap though.
Who'd be cheap. But that's the way Maguire will look to put that into the jigsaw. I've got this guy who works really hard, and I'm getting him cheap.
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to go because Ronaldo would be an expensive buy for a winger. They can't afford Ronaldo.
No. Well, it probably is less the Broncos went after and more his management have shopped him to the Broncos. He's a November 1 guy. There's talks he wants like $700,000 a year. I don't think he's going to get 700. You just can't really pay wingers unless you're elite that price.
And if you're a club that's desperate for like a big fish, like that's why that happens. The Broncos don't need that big fish; they've got plenty. I just didn't understand that one bit.
Yeah, and then it's interesting though what they do with Stags and Cobbo, and if they can keep both of them,
they won't be able to keep both. It's just they're a victim of their success and their pathways there. In that sense, that you've got these two, an abundance of quality players, and you've got to decide who you keep and who you don't. Obviously, Penrith go through that quite often.
Who are you picking then, Stags or Cobbo?
Probably Stags.
Yeah, I could see that. That's probably more their need. If they've got like Grant Anderson coming and they've got Jesse Arthurs on one wing, who's a really good player.
Yeah.
Maybe they see Stags as the better centre of the two of them. If Cobbo's going to have to play centre, Stags going to play centre.
I heard Maguire say he'd probably play Cobbo on the wing.
Yeah, I thought that'd be the case.
Which I think will be good for him. I think he gets into the action more frequently from the wing, where at centre, you can get lost in the game. But Stags is that player that you can just go to pass, give him the ball, away you go. And Cobbo is as well, but I think from what I've seen, I'd go if you had to make that choice, and it's a great choice to have to make, I'd go Stags.
The other big player movement stuff is Dylan Brown now, which is getting weirder and weirder. First of all, Chris Orr sent an email he's his manager, sent an email out to all the clubs. I'll find out what it was, but basically it's like
an expression of interest.
Do
you want to meet with Dylan?
Yeah, and paraphrasing, he basically said this is a franchise player. Dylan Brown franchise players don't come off very often. Submit your offers, blah blah. But Dylan Brown's already got like $1 million a year on the table from Parramatta. That's what his options are anyway. I think Dylan Brown's get much more than that if he hits the open market.
No, you can't afford to pay him any more than that.
No,
because he's a really good player,
player.
But once you go over $1 million,
no,
he's not in that echelon just yet.
No,
but also for me, the leaking of the email. It's pretty common practice for player agents to send these type of emails out, but I can't recall ever seeing one before.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I don't understand why this one has come into the public domain, or maybe, it's. I'm sure if because what this doesn't do is help Parramatta. This is more talk around the future. And we know the potential domino effect of Dylan Brown leaving, what that does to Will Penasini's head, what that does to Mitchell Moses' head moving forward. So this is going to create angst in and amongst Parramatta, another team that I've been thinking a lot about as well, about where they fit on the ladder. I think it's poor that it's been leaked, but then maybe you think about the player manager and go,
I don't think he would leak
No,
it.
no, but
because
then
I don't
would
think
he-
it's good for Dylan Brown.
No,
This makes Dylan
it's-
Brown look greedy.
Yeah.
It makes him look like he's got a one eye out of Parramatta.
Well, I think if you're Dylan Brown's manager, you go, well, now it's all on the phone.
Yeah.
And you can't envisage someone recording that phone call conversation.
No.
Or it's a meet in person.
And also, I think the thing for Dylan Brown that it sucks in the situation is it's just going to he's going to be getting pressure now
Yeah.
from Parramatta fans, unnecessary pressure.
Yeah.
It's a story you don't want going into a year. These player options that they've given him, though, it's disgraceful, I think, really, for the club to have given him all those options that they've given him pretty much every year. You're like, why bother even signing him for that
Yeah.
long if you're going to give him all the options?
Well, you never win. As a
No.
football club, you never win.
No, and you're the one who has given him the long-term deal that I don't think he would have got many other places.
Yeah.
6 years, I think, was
Yeah.
it 6 years, like $1 million a year?
Well, all the power is with the player.
Yeah.
Zero power is with the club. You are always at the beck and call of the player, which is, when we sat with Matt Cameron from Penrith, it's just like, we don't do them.
No.
And you know what? I think if you're trying to build long-term sustainable success, you might have, you got to have these, if you don't stand for something, you'd fall for everything. So you fall for, hey, the superstar player with the caveat. You fall for, we'll just get him, let's just keep him happy.
Yeah.
Because if he's happy, he's with us, it buys us time. It takes pressure off us
Yeah,
as,
and
as an
also-
organisation, where if you just say no and then there's a risk that he leaves, small percentage chance, I think he'd probably still stay anyway, or maybe a 2 or 3 year deal.
Yeah.
And they go, happy days. But the only way, the rationale, is you're a marquee player like a Dylan Brown or a Mitchell Moses or Jerome Luai and go, you've been telling me this is going to change and we're going to go somewhere. Put that in.
Yeah.
So you're not all talk.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a game. It's a cat and mouse negotiation.
Yeah.
But you, as a football club, you got to be strong enough and go, we don't put those in.
No, and they've given Moses some sort of options as well, and it looks at the time it's great, and it makes football managers look like they're doing their job. We've just re-signed these guys for this long, but then it kind of, when you pull back the curtain and you see these options, it's like you haven't.
No,
you haven't. You've got him. You've kept him for a couple of years, but you've given him all the power for the next 6.
Yeah.
So if he does his ACL twice in a row, don't worry, he's going to be opting into those contracts. And that's the other thing about Dylan Brown is he. I know it wasn't a full ACL tear, but he just had a partial ACL tear. Like, I don't know. I don't know if clubs are going to be clamoring for him. And
I reckon there'd be a few that would.
Yeah, but at $1 million a year, that's what he's going to be expecting.
Yeah, it is. But then also, if you're Dylan Brown, why would you leave Parramatta? It's probably not for the dollar.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Because the Roosters will be the team that has a crack at
of course.
him. And it makes sense. Sam Walker and Dylan Brown, it's an amazing halves combo down the track. Yeah.
That's where, you would, you'd be surprised if the Roosters didn't, have that meeting and follow up on that email.
Yeah. Union's the interesting one as well, because apparently rugby union's come in for him, but he's been offered to the Wallabies, I think, not New Zealand rugby, which is not the All Blacks, which is weird as well, because he's obviously Kiwi.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a couple of different union players who they were saying he more of a number 12, so that's like outside centre or inside centre.
Yeah.
Inside centre, sorry.
Does Australian rugby union have the cash? That's the question.
And is he a sexy enough name? Like Joseph Suaalii is a big name, but also was like that future prodigy as well. So like for the media loves that sort of stuff. So inside centre, sorry.
Yeah.
It would be,
Like Dylan Brown could just be, with all due respect, another Vunivalu.
Yeah.
Who, amazing player, but isn't the Suaalii of the world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, Vunivalu, great player.
Yeah.
Does a fantastic job, both in league and union, but he's not that, I'm going to tune in to watch him.
Yeah.
Suaalii, he's a head turner. He's a channel turner.
He has been since he was 16 grabbing headlines. It's a bit different. And he's played union a lot. I don't know Brown's history of rugby union.
Yeah, I think, it would be a shame to see Dylan Brown go, but at the same time, I can't see him doing that. I think the logical move for me, if you're Dylan Brown, he will go to a place that he feels he can win a premiership.
We forgot to at the start of the show announce that we have got our winner for the draft as well.
Oh yes,
so
we do, yeah.
I obviously beat you pretty convincingly in the end.
Yeah,
I think it was like 70% to 30%, something like that. But a hammering. The White Swans absolutely eviscerated into your nan. But we have our winner, and it's potentially you've picked this guy. I reckon half the reason you've picked this guy is because you like his name so much. But his name is Bartholomew Frinton Smythe. One of the great names.
Great name. Well done.
He's commented on YouTube, so we will reply to your comment on YouTube, Bartholomew, and then message us on Instagram, and we'll figure out the prize. You get a little buy our merch pack, hat, T-shirt, everything. We'll send it out to you. But do you want me to run you through his team that he went for?
Yeah.
So fullback Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. On the wings, he had Brian To'o and Zach Lomax. You know a point that I messed up the draft? So I took, who did I take on the I took Tommy Did and then Murray Tuolangi. And everyone's telling me I should have had, I took Dylan Brown and Murray Tuolangi. And everyone's been messaging me saying I should have taken Tommy Did and Zach Lomax.
Yeah.
And I should have. That would have been better. Otherwise, that would have been a 10 out of 10 draft.
I should have got, my big mistake with Mitch Moses, but I'm over it now.
Yeah, dude, it completely unraveled. It completely unraveled from there.
You know what? I underestimated you, Charlie.
Yeah.
I came in full of confidence. You were god awful last year.
Yeah, I
was. And I was the cocky favourite.
Yeah, and it cost you.
It did.
Cost you. I saw this show on TNT the other day. It was an old show. It's from like a few years ago. It was the 75th NRL anniversary, and they did what we did, a draft, but it was all-time players, like the top 75 all time. They had like 8 different teams drafting. It was really cool. We should do something like that for rugby league.
Go on, get through Bartholomew's team.
Bartholomew in the centres, Matt Tomoka from the Raiders and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck for the Warriors. In the halves, he had Jerome Luai and DCE. Front row, Lindsay Collins and Mo Futuaika. Hooker, Reece Robson. Back row, Viliama Kikau, Britton Nickera and Patrick Carrigan at lock. On the bench, Max Plath as his hooker/utility/forward. Max Plath's probably my favourite player in the NRL. Then he had Leo Thompson for Newcastle, Luciano Leilua for St George, and Keon Koloamatangi for South Sydney.
Not bad.
Pretty good team.
Yeah, and
it might even beat our team.
Yeah, he was restricted as well with his ability to draft. So
he also had he also didn't have any time pressure though.
Yeah, that's true. He's got time.
But yeah, congrats, mate. Yeah. We'll send it out to you. We'll message you. We'll figure it all out.
Yeah. Before we get into the rest of the news, which there isn't much of, I am appealing to our listeners, our fans. So anybody that knows anybody that can make a chair. So I've got a chair, but what I want to do is I've got a heap of old jerseys.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with these jerseys. I've seen this idea that you basically get them caught and it's the material of the chair.
Oh, cool. Yeah, nice. So it's the stitching of the chair.
Yeah. So they stitch into it, basically the cover of the chair.
Yeah, cool.
It's like a wingback chair.
Yeah.
Which, I'll sort that. But if anybody knows anyone that can do this, please get in touch with the show because I'm over just having my old jerseys in the old kit bag. So I can get a picture, send it to Tony. He can put it up. This is the example. Yeah. If anybody knows anyone that can do this, I'm happy to pay for it, not after a freebie. Yeah. I just need to do something with my old jerseys.
You're looking for like a haberdashery expert is what you're looking for.
What's a haberdashery?
Haberdashery is like sewing and knitting.
Or there might be a company that do it. I know there's a company in England that do it.
Yeah.
But obviously they're in England and the jerseys are here.
Yeah.
I want the chair here. So.
What sort of style chair is like a rocking chair? Like
like a wingback chair.
What does that mean, a wingback chair?
Like wings at the back. So
is it like a chair you'd see in like a man's lounge or something like that? Man cave chair? Yeah. Cool. Man, that'd be good.
So that's what I'm looking to do. So please help me. And before anyone says, why don't you Google it? I already have.
First of all, great line.
I already have.
Also, I realised, because obviously you had Emerson in here last week, I could see that she was James Graham's daughter because you were like, oh, I'll just be 1 second. And she was like, 1, count it back to you. And I was like,
is that what he did?
Yeah.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, and I was like, Jimmy's raised her. That's right.
Well done, Emerson.
Yeah, that was good.
Well done.
That was
that was good.
Yeah. St. George Illawarra Dragons and Matt Lodge. He was offered a train and trial deal, and he's now turned that down because he wanted a top 30 squad. There are a few rumours and whatnot that he was actually initially told that he was going to get a top 30 spot, but then the Dragons saw the market out there and that there wasn't much options for Matt Lodge, and then they changed it to a train and trial.
Yeah. Look, Lodge's options are really dwindling, aren't they? And obviously he's got that relationship with Shane Flanagan from the days at Manly. He probably should have just backed himself.
Yeah, and taken that train trial.
Take the training trial because there's not much on the table, and he would have known, like, if this ends, this Dragons link, you know. But then it's hard because he's such a quality player. He'd be looking like, I can't play for this.
Yeah, and he's still only 29. Yeah, is the craziest.
Yeah,
thing.
That's it.
I mean, he does look like 40 going on 50, but like he's only 29 years old.
Yeah, it's obviously we had him on here, a very emotional interview, and you know, I'm playing against him, an incredibly tough competitor. Watching him in recently years at Manly, at the Roosters, at the Warriors, he can still play.
Yeah,
he's got football in him. You know, I mean, could he go to South Sydney? Is there a spot there? Is there a potential roster spot there? Are they full?
I think they're full, but even the train and trial, like if you're going to do a train trial, maybe go somewhere like South instead. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, because again, we spoke about their need for a middle. I know that link went cold for a bit, but I don't know. I guess for me, the Dragons were probably looking at it and going, well, we're playing this hard negotiation, which is fair enough. They're entitled to do. But I think he could have added to them. I really do.
Because even those last couple games towards the end of the year, he looked like he showed flashes of the Matt Lodge of old.
Yeah.
I think he should be in an NRL roster. If not, he could look at England.
Yeah, but whether or not he'd want to go with that young family that he has. And obviously with everything that he's been through. Yeah. He wouldn't be short of options. He'll get options in the Super League.
I mean, what about the Dogs as a train and trial as well? Like if that's his level, maybe that's what he was thinking. He's like, I would have moved to, because he's living currently in the Northern Beaches, thinking, oh, maybe I would have moved to Illawarra for a top 30 spot. I'm going to say no to that. But then he might get a train trial spot. I mean, who knows? Manly could even come in and offer him a train trial spot. Yeah. And you just got to take that ego hit, I guess, don't you?
Yeah, you probably do. Yeah. Put the ego aside and say.
Because it would be a big downgrade for him. You get $1,200 a week, I think, as a train trial player. Which is about what, 70 grand, but it wouldn't be 70 grand now because it would only be until September. So it's probably like a 50 grand deal. He'd be looking at. It's not much money.
No, to dedicate your life to something, but what else is going to do?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Like, it's a tough one, that.
Yeah. Mate, the other one before we get out of here is the United States of America have made a bid. Not only are they banning everyone from TikTok, but they've made a bid for the 2030 World Cup. So you, me, Tony in 2030 could be in America for the Rugby League World Cup.
Could be. Well, I think they've previously won, and then gave it up. So, look, obviously with the NRL and people like Abdo and Volandis being heavily influential on the international calendar, I think it's great for Rugby League. Delighted the Ashes are going ahead in the UK. It seems like we've got a roadmap now for the international calendar, which pleases fans, clubs, players, it pleases everybody or most people.
Yeah.
Yet, you know, do we get quite what we want? Do we get those old school kangaroo tours back? No, but realistically, they're not coming back. No. Unfortunately, they're a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But with things like the World Cup and new markets opening up, I think it's fantastic. Let's hope in 2030 we're off to the tour of the States.
That would be amazing.
How old will you be in 2030?
I will be 35. So best years are behind me.
Oh, yeah, but
best
still.
Years are behind me. I might have 2-3 kids by that point. Maybe not 3 kids. That'd be quick, rapid fire kids. But 2-3 kids. You know what World Cup I do want to go to, though? Is the in World Cup next year in America, 2026, USA, Mexico, Canada.
Yeah.
Do a tour of that.
That would be pretty
good.
But
it clashes with the Rugby League season.
Yeah.
So...
clashes with the buy round.
Yeah, but we could do the buy-in from over there because we could, by day, watch the World Cup and go around to American cities and maybe do it with in partnership with Ladbrokes, a little America tour perhaps.
Hint. Yeah, yeah.
And any other partners that would like to jump on board for that.
If anyone wants to send us to the FIFA World Cup in 2026.
In a Winnebago, we could maybe drive around the States, game to game.
Yeah. No, don't drive.
Okay, we'll just fly around.
On the wrong side of the road, are you mad?
Oh, it's a piece of piss that. Once you get used to it, you get used to it very quickly.
No, well, shocking not driving.
Yeah, see, that's
No,
another.
why don't we get Uber to sponsor it? I'll Uber. I'll sit in the back
around?
of an
Yeah,
Uber.
we could. Yeah, that's another sign of you being a one-level thinker, though. It's like, oh, I can't drive on this side of the road because I flipped it. It's like, mate, it's the same thing.
No,
You just
I
drive on
can.
the road.
I have done once in France
You
before.
didn't like it?
Didn't particularly enjoy it. And then you think, what's the point?
Mm.
Like, so
What's the point in driving around?
what's the point in getting a car when you can
Just
just...
you see parts of the best part of a road trip is you see parts of the world you wouldn't normally see because you're flying over it.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't do when you're driving.
Drink. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully,
You hear
mate.
that ring pull back.
Well, you could if I was driving.
If you're driving,
Yeah,
hey,
you could,
do is you would
Get
soon,
sick of you.
You would not. You know what you get sick of?
Yeah.
Charlie, can we stop?
Yeah.
I need to piss.
Yeah. That was when I drove you and Josh Reynolds back from Nelson Bay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was a bit like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Every 30 seconds, just cans going off.
We both fell asleep, didn't we?
No, you stayed awake. Josh
Oh,
Reynolds
yeah,
fell
Josh
asleep,
fell
so you
asleep,
came
yeah.
in the front seat and sat next to me and
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
spoke to me and
Yeah.
tried to show me videos. I'm like, man, I'm driving on a highway, dude. I'm like, can't watch that.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, hopefully, mate, we'll be in America then.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Also, I should say the grand final show. So we've got
Yes.
another one coming Thursday, and it's going to be the 2010 Dragons
yes.
grand final. Jamie Sauer, Brett Morrison. That will be a good one. We're also recording this week the 04 Dogs.
Yes, we
so
are.
we got Marco Mealy, Ogre coming in with Rennie Matua.
Looking forward to that very much.
That's going to be great. And there's a couple other ones. We're probably going to do the Storm as well with Dale and Cheese, and a few more.
Yeah.
And then Cheese is obviously back next week as well.
Cheese is back next week.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk soon.